Streaming from Oklahoma's own digital studio, this is TU Football Update with Jeremie Poplin.
Welcome in, everyone, to the Digital Desk, live from Griffin Studios. Brought to you by our good friends at Brahms. Thank you so much to Brahms for jumping on board for this brand new sponsorship opportunity. Proud to be a partner with them. Well, here we are after what was an incredible opening game for Trey Lamb and the University of Tulsa. I know this is coming to you on a Wednesday, but we haven't had a chance to recap things from the past weekend so far, and moving ahead through the next couple of episodes, we'll have one not only on Thursday for you, but on Friday night / Saturday morning, as well in a preview edition for New Mexico State. Well, could you ask for anything better? I mean, if you went through the laundry list of things, unless you're a perfectionist, and if that's the case, then that's completely fine. I'm not. You can ask a lot of people that are close to me. I'm not even remotely close to it. I mean, look at the work I provide to you guys. Not even close to a perfectionist. But if you had a list of things that needed to get accomplished in week one for TU, I think you'd find a whole lot of check marks on that page. And we can start first with a few of the surprises, because I know that I was surprised by the ultimate outcome. Maybe I shouldn't have been, but if one of the big storylines heading into the season is your offensive line, how they're built, the number of moving parts that you've had, trying to make sure that you're getting the right combination. I understand the opponent. Let's just put that out there. Even though Abilene Christian is very good and was good last year, at some point in time, we're going to have to start judging them on what the results of this season are, and we can't do that until a few weeks down the road, so we'll hold off judgment on that. But Tulsa's offensive line did what I thought was an above expectation level type of performance on Saturday night. When you average 5 yards per carry with your running back, and we'll get to Dom coming up in just a bit, but mission accomplished, to me anyway, with all the question marks going in. There were some moving parts that had to happen because of injuries on the night, cramping situations. Also, your center has a club on his left hand as well. Backup rolls in, does an incredible job. So, out of the box, you have to give the offensive line an A grade. Now, haven't had a chance to talk to any of the coaches yet on how they graded out. Just talking about collectively, my goodness, I still walk away from that and marvel at the type of performance that they had on Saturday night. Special teams, which has been an issue now, what feels like forever, at least in my opinion. Did they have a bad kick coverage happen? Of course they did. That stuff can get worked out, though, in communication. But when you look on the night, and you have an 80-yard punt, you have a field goal kicker that is trying to gain confidence and goes 2 for 2. You look at the touchbacks that they had on the night on kickoffs. I think Coach said they had 6. On top of being able to pull off fake punt that picks up a first down, outside of that one bad or a couple of bad moments on return coverage, I mean, A's across the board for them in an area that a lot of us had questions about, but yet found a way to get the job done. Kirk manages the offense exactly the way that Coach wanted him to. Couple of missed throws in here. You'll hear from Coach here coming up in a moment. One overthrown in the end zone to Booker, but you'll live with that because of the way that he operated the offense for the majority of the night. Not everyone's going to be perfect by any means. And then the running back room. They had a purpose, they had a mission to get Presley the football, and you know what? They did it. This wasn't just word of mouth. This wasn't just coach speak throughout the fall camp portion, throughout the first week where they said, hey, we're going to get him the football. We're making it a point to get him the football. They did it. They lived up to their words that they gave all of us in the media and the fans as well. And you know what? BP had a pretty good night. And it gave you just a little bit of a glimpse about how they're going to continue to try to use him moving forward. And I think it's absolutely brilliant with the way that they used him. He showed. He can get those 10 yards per carry if you need him to. Get him into space, and good things are going to happen. He's going to continue to evolve as the season moves along as well. And then Dom Richardson. I mean, shades of Dom from glory days at Oklahoma State. Keith Patterson had told Coach Lamb, by the way, shouts out to KP, who Coach Lamb told us that they spent 30 minutes on the phone with each other on Sunday, just going over a few things here and there. Got to see Keith before the game. Just such a good dude. And then to see him celebrating with the 05 bunch as they were calling him over as he was trying to walk off the field at halftime. You know, there was a point there where I was a little bit worried about KP making it back to the locker room in time to actually speak to his team. And the amount of people that were coming up to him before the game kicked off was really special and shows you, one, the connections that he still has here, two, the love for the university, and three, the love that the people have that were around him at the time here at TU and all of his family as well. Just a really, really great moment on Saturday night. But that run game, and KP had said, hey, we were really worried about Dom Richardson because Keith Patterson was on that staff at Texas Tech a few years ago when they played Oklahoma State, and they could not tackle Dom Richardson at all. And I think I took a notice on Dom at a particular point through fall camp about just the way that he was running. And then you start to hear a few things about his level of performance, and you start to dream a little bit about the version that you're getting. And if you are getting that version of Dom, who's been nothing but great at times, and what he can potentially add to this team and in this conference, man, it gives you a lot of hope for what that running attack can look like, especially after week one with the type of success that they had. Defensively, we'll spend some time coming up on that. I thought that they were great as well, with a few individuals that really stood out. You'll hear from some of the players coming up in this podcast as well, all, again, brought to you by Brahms. So without further ado, let's hear from the head football coach at TU, Trey Lamb, from his press conference earlier this week, and then we'll get into some of the player comments after Coach.
Just flipping the field with the punt, the field goals, 5 touchbacks. Really, really cool to see our specialists perform the way they did in our special teams. We had a tackle inside the 10 on a punt. Field position was big in that game. Really proud of our defense. They settled in nicely. We kind of got it run down our throat a little bit in the first couple drives with the quarterback run and scrambles. He extended some plays on us. We gave up a 21-yard rush. That was probably the most disappointing thing. And we gave up a post throw over our head in the first 2 drives. So they went 162 yards of total offense in 2 drives, and they didn't have – I think they had 80 the rest of the game. So defense settled in nicely. We got some huge stops in the third quarter, 3 3-and-outs. The goal line stands, which I've already mentioned, were huge, huge. And that just – I think that goes back to the weight room, nutrition, strength. We've got mass. We've got depth. And Tulsa hadn't been able to say some of those things in a few years. So excited for our team. We are in no way have we arrived. In no way are we satisfied. And in my mind, we're 0-0. And it's time to go 1-0 this week. We've got a very formidable opponent at New Mexico State. It's going to be a tough trip. We are flying into El Paso on Friday, staying the night in El Paso, driving an hour over to play in Las Cruces, driving back to El Paso, flying out. We'll get back about 5 a.m. back to Tulsa Sunday morning. So excited to travel with our guys. Tony Sanchez does a great job. He's obviously won a ton of football games at several different levels. Really good head football coach. I like the way their guys play. They're scrappy. They're aggressive. They play with confidence. I like their quarterback, Logan Fife. I think he does some good things. Their offensive coordinator, David Yost, I've actually coached against him before in 2018. And he had Jordan Love at Utah State, and they waxed us, and they had a really good football team. So a lot of respect for what they do. Looking forward to going to get one on the road and bringing our team back to reality this week of who we are, making sure that we don't get the big head and we can handle success properly. So big week for us. Questions?
So, Coach, how do you go about balancing the excitement of winning game 1 with having to go play game 2?
Yeah, I told them yesterday at 5 o'clock. We practiced yesterday. We lifted. We met. We had a team meeting, special teams meeting, unit meetings. And as soon as the meetings were over and the weightlifting was over, we went to the practice field at 5 o'clock and started on New Mexico State. And I told him at 5 o'clock, I don't want to hear one mention of Abilene Christian, one mention of what you did, what we did, what I did. None of it matters. And we put that game to bed last night at 5 o'clock. I thought we tackled well. I thought we rushed the passer well. I thought we were a little taken aback in the first couple drives with the quarterback scrambles. I think I can think of 3 plays he scrambled and gained yards. The slot was giving us some issues. We made some great halftime adjustments. I don't think he caught a ball in the second half. So we were really good with our halftime adjustments. And we knew, like, I told our staff, like, first games, we don't know. Like, I have no idea what Graham Harrell was going to do. We didn't know. Like, we thought it was going to be a little more air raid, mesh, shallow, 4 verts. And we were prepared for that. And going to play a little more man coverage and get on body. And then the quarterback starts scrambling around. You're like, okay, I don't want to play man. All right, the slot's giving us issues. We don't really want to play a bunch of man. So we kind of went back to some zone coverages, some zone fires, kind of do what we do. And I thought we made great adjustments on the defense side of the ball because they really didn't do anything after those first 2 drives in the game. I mean, we gave them the ball in plus territory to start P and 10 twice, and they got no points out of it. That was huge in the third quarter. If they score maybe one of those 2 fourth downs and then one of those drives, it's all of a sudden 13-10, and we're in a dogfight. And the game kind of got boring in the second half, which is what you want as a head coach. I like boring. Boring wins. And when they're not moving the ball and we're able to run the football for 5 yards a carry and 263 yards rushing, that wins games. I don't care what level you're at, that wins.
I also wanted to make sure that I asked about play calling and rhythm. Everyone's concerned about the responsibilities from a head coach and play calling. It was one of the storylines coming in. It's the reason why he has the job. But I asked Trey Lamb just about how he felt like the flow went from a play calling perspective. And I always love coaches when they have honest reviews of what they did. Even Coach Lamb feels like that he could have went back and made a few different calls, not too many, but let's get his thoughts on that.
So communication was good. What about you from a play calling perspective? Were you happy with your rhythm? Were you happy with the flow that ended up happening?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought, we only had 2 negative plays in the whole game. The first jet sweep at tempo to BP in that first drive. We hit the one to BP down. Our plan was to get BP the ball the first 2 plays, Presley in space. We hit him on the 12-yard gain, and we tempoed into a jet sweep to the field, unbalanced, and they just happened to have the perfect call on and hit us in the mouth. Look, that's going to happen when you go fast, but you're also going to catch them in some bad looks, and we did. Like Dom's touchdown they were in a real bad call and didn't fit it properly. They're tired, and they can't catch him. So the tempo, that's kind of the risk you take when you play with as much tempo as we play with. But I thought I could have ran the ball a couple more times in the red zone. Like I got a little pass happy when we got inside the 10. But on the one naked, like to the right side, the waggle, I called on 2nd and 4. Like we got 3 guys wide open. That was one of Kirk's only misses of the night, and he overthrew Booker. But Tease is open in the back corner, and I think it was Booker was open, as the deep out, and we had like a cell concept and caught him off guard, and that's the only miss. Really, he had 2 misses, that one and the slant to Tease. And then I probably should have ran it on 3rd and 4 right there to get back to 4th and manageable. But you know what? It was good to see our kicker make some kicks, and I was worried about that, and he made 2 big kicks. So, yeah, I thought Kirk and I were on the same page. Coach Robbins called the trick play to Brody Foley, so he had that one oiled up. It wasn't even on the call sheet, but we saw him drive one of those plays earlier in the game, and he said, Coach, I can get this oiled up for you if you get that back down there. We'll get it to Brody on the tickle, we call it. So that was really good adjustment by him. He really helped me up there in the box. I thought our O-line, Coach Selfo, had those guys ready to go. That's one thing Coach Patterson talked about too, is how he thinks we got a good O-line for this level. He thinks we're big, strong, physical. He thinks we'll be able to push some people around. So that was good to hear.
Now let's hear from some of the players. Zion Booker with a touchdown in his debut. Nakai Johnson, the transfer from Pitt, a big-time playmaker for that defensive line on the interior side of the Tulsa defense. But first, a word from our brand new sponsor, and that's Brahms.
Satisfy your sweet tooth with a Brahms old-fashioned banana split. Crafted with a delicious banana, split down the middle and filled with not 1, but 3 scoops of Brahms premium ice cream flavors. To complete this masterpiece, all your favorite toppings are poured on each scoop to bring it all together in a perfect harmony of flavor. Treat yourself to an old-fashioned banana split at Brahms, where every spoonful leaves you wanting more.
happy with the outcome.
So why did you choose Tulsa?
Honestly, I chose Tulsa because I felt like I was a great fit for what Coach Lamb was trying to bring here. You know, he told me on my visit, you know, he's looking to establish something, and he wanted to establish it right now. And, you know, the things he was saying to me and how he wanted me to step in and take that role as being one of the guys who, you know, led by example, you know, being around a whole bunch of great coaches and great players, you know, and I just loved it, you know.
Take us through a little bit what happened on the goal line stands. I guess on the first one in the timeout, I guess Coach Lamb had said after the game that he thought the timeout was important. It let you guys regroup a little bit and kind of get into a better spot to be able to make that stop. So what happened, I guess, on the first goal line stand?
I mean, on the goal line stand, we just prepared for – this is situations we've been practicing and practice all week. You know, we already knew we were going to be more physical than them. We knew we were going to be more dominant than them. So whenever we got out there, it was just like, you know, our scout team gave us a great look during the week. And when we got out there, we just executed what we already knew.
Do you feel extra pressure with a 0? Because if you wear 0 or 1, like, you got to be the dude, right?
Yeah, it's really no pressure. Whatever number I wear, 88, 99, 0, it doesn't matter. I'm the same all the time. So it's really no pressure behind a number.
Can you go through a little bit more on just your transition into playing this position here and kind of the feel through the first week and through camp and where you feel solid in kind of the foundation where you're at right now?
Yeah, I feel solid, but there's always, you know, room for growth, room for improvement. You know, I did leave a couple of, you know, plays I could have made out there, but, you know, I feel real solid where I'm at. You know, just got cracked on the film, just looked at it, you know, see where I could improve, see where I could be better, and then, yeah, I felt good about my performance.
Where are those areas that you feel like that you can improve at?
Just as far as, like, maybe, like, playing a little bit faster, you know, playing just a little bit more free, you know, not as far as, like, not thinking so much. You know, my preparation into the week is pretty good, but I feel like I need to take another step in that, just, you know, watching more film, just so I can just be even more comfortable, so I can just play as fast as I can.
Did you return punts previously?
Like, before I came here?
Yeah.
Not before I came here. I always practiced catching punts, but I was never, like, the designated punt returner. So
okay, how's that feel?
Shoot, it was a little nerve-wracking at first because my first one, but, you know, once I got back there, it was comfortable. I've been catching punts, like, my whole life. Not that I was designated punt returner, but, you know, it's nothing new.
Yeah. And, of course, having Coach Switzer, you know, there to kind of guide you through that with his background, how helpful has that been?
Actually, really helpful because he returned a lot of punts in his career. So, you know, it's a lot of technique and, like, you know, things that go into catching punts, just reading the ball, knowing, like, if it's traveling, if it's falling short, where it's falling left or right. You know, he helps us with that all day.
Nikai, does it feel good to just get one in the books, kind of get the first one completely out of the way before you dive into just the grind of the regular season?
Yeah, most definitely. Any game we get to play football, it always feel great.
How was preparation for you and from a team aspect, you know, first time out and feeling like that you guys were all on the same page heading into week 1?
It's just bonding, you know. This is one of the D-line groups that I feel like our bond is super tight. You know, we hang out a lot outside of this, so just being out there and being able to go out there and not just only play football but also have fun playing football, you know, I feel like a lot of people take that for granted. And the way we were just going out there, coming to the sideline, still smiling, still happy, you know, it's always still serious, but just being able to smile and be happy, you know, while you're playing a game of football, you know, you got to love that.
Was there any performance by any of your teammates that surprised you, or did you you feel like, oh,
I mean,
man, we
honestly,
knew.
It really wasn't surprising because we came into this week knowing that we were going to dominate. We were going to be the most dominant we will be the most dominant D-line in this conference. But, you know, just Byron having 3 sacks, you know, that was, like, that's unheard of in college football today, you know, having 3 sacks in one game. You know, Jaden, he's my roommate, you know, a guy who always talked to me about what he wanted to accomplish. I was happy to see him go out there and ball out. Just everybody, you know. And there were some guys who didn't even get to step on the field who I'm really excited to see play this season because I just feel like any given time, any player that they put on the field, you know, can produce.
Jaden talking about what he wants to accomplish. What about you? What do you want to accomplish?
Honestly, I just want to be the best version of me that I could be. You know, that's the reason I came here. I didn't come here to stat chase. I didn't come here to do all the extra things. I just wanted to come here to be a leader, lead by example, you know, and do what I'm supposed to do and become the best version of me I could be.
All right, that'll do it for our Tulsa recap. Stay tuned. We've got a breakdown coming your way over the next couple of days, then a preview episode as well on Friday night or Saturday morning. I'll let you know exactly when that posts on our new YouTube channel, which is Oklahoma's Own Sports. So like and subscribe. And as always, we greatly appreciate you and our friends at Brahms as well for helping make this happen.
Thank you for watching this Oklahoma's Own Digital Studios sports presentation. Stay with News on 6, online and on television anytime for the latest news, weather, and sports.